Now, we receive almost daily reports of the brazen attacks carried out across northern Nigeria by armed bandits. It's almost as if they've essentially taken over, reigning supreme over large swathes of territory, particularly in the northwest region. There's a regular flow of stories about kidnapping, sexual violence, killings, villages being sacked, cattle rustling, and armed robbery. This wanton insecurity has decimated lives in northern Nigeria, with hundreds of thousands, possibly millions, unprotected and daily exposed to staggering levels of insecurity. There are many factors that have led to this, including conflict between farmers and herders, as well as the discovery of gold mines, which has attracted lots of illegal miners competing for their share of the gold reserves. And this has given rise to armed groups who want to control this lucrative trade. Well, one of the few journalists who's been able to meet some of these bandits at their hideouts is the journalist Shuaib Mungadi. He's a current affairs analyst and presenter of a popular Hausa language radio program across northern Nigeria. And he joins me now in the studio. Pardon me for, fluttering a bit when it came to your sort of surname there. But thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you very much, Charles.
Tell us more about how and why this banditry began and why it appears to be concentrated in northern Nigeria.
Well, actually, what we have gathered as journalists is that this banditry is a product of injustice operation. It all began when a combination of security agents, judicial staff, traditional rulers at the rural areas began to oppress Fulanis. In northern Nigeria, if any worker, a civil servant, a judicial staff, a security agent is posted to rural areas, they tend to oppress, to take advantage of ignorance of the rural people, especially the Fulanis who dwell in the forest, and every little thing they invite them and extort money from them. It became so intensive that these Fulani, many of them were pauperized by this system. And one needs to understand the life of a Fulani. They don't know anything that is the way to live, to earn livelihood. No any other means except cattle rearing. So if...
Well, most of them, because the president of Nigeria is a Fulani. He certainly found another way, didn't he?
Yeah, we have Fulani herders and we have sedentary Fulani.
Yes, I see what you mean. Yeah, you got the
president is
ones.
one of the sedentary Fulani.
Yes, excuse me. So you're talking about the nomadic
I'm
ones.
talking about the nomadic
right.
Fulanis. And they live, they depend largely on their cattle. So if you take away those animals from them, then there is every tendency for them to, embark on criminality.
And were those animals taken away from them?
Yeah, by day-to-day extortion. Sometimes if a Fulani man gets 100 cows, let's say, and he is taken to court for maybe a trivial offense, maybe devouring a farmer's crops, it may end up, for him to lose 10 cows at a time. So reoccurrence of these instances leads to pauperization. And that is exactly what happened. Then they started rustling cows between them. So if a Fulani who loses all his cows sees someone with many cows, he will now rustle. And later on, they grow into this criminality to the extent that they now have to copy the security agencies who went to their settlement to arrest them with AK-47, detain them, and ask their kinsmen to bring money. So they now realize that, okay, the powers of these people arresting us, was this AK-47. So let us obtain it. So they
to empower ourselves.
Yeah,
basically.
they empower themselves with these weapons, not knowing even what to do with it, but maybe on a vengeance or survival mission. So they started kidnapping people, asking very little money, 10,000, 20,000, as the case may be. But later on, politicians saw ready allies in them, and so they started using them for political reasons, and then they got emboldened, and then they started kidnapping and asking for
more money, basically.
more money.
And you've met them. I
Yeah.
mean, tell us the circumstances under which you met.
You see, there are basically about 12 of the kingpins leaders living in this forest between Kaduna State, Niger State, Kebbi, Sokoto, Zamfara, Katsina. About 12 of them leading various camps. And each one carved out a territory that he governs. They reign there like kings. And believe you me, I visited one of the camps, based on their invitation, because I made a program in Hausa, in my television, Fariwata, and they saw it, or they listened to it, and they decided to enlighten me the more. So on the advice of some security and even the government of certain state, I agreed to honor the invitation, and I went to their base, and I saw, I don't want to mention the leader of that camp, but he lived with everything you can think of that provide comfort in the city, in the forest. He has this latest edition of Hideouts, 2020 edition. And he had
That's
about
the van, the car, basically.
The gang leader. And if he's going out, he went with escort, and they have armory, they're well established. They have courts, they have stores where they keep food, they have cooks, they have everything. So, Mr. Charles, maybe people need to know that these bandits are not, they are not foreigners. They only invite foreigners if, situation warrants.
Well, that was what I was going to ask you, because I understand that that some of them are not Nigerians, or at least they cooperate with other Fulanis who are across West Africa. Is that right?
They do cooperate. Let me tell you, for example, in Kaduna State, there are two major groups headed by Baleri, who kidnapped the Greenfield student and Bethlehem and and then the other side of Zaria and Kiwa, there is Alaji Gudare also. So in Zamfara, we have Dankarami. He ran in the Rugu and the Shinkafi Zurmi forest. There is late Awalu Daudawa, who kidnapped the mastermind of Kankara, kidnapped. There is Dogo Gide, the most dangerous one, that is living in the forest of Niger State.
What makes him so dangerous?
Yeah,
or the most dangerous?
The most dangerous because all others fear him. He was the one who killed the dreaded Buhari Daji in the forest state and took over the reign after he killed him. And what I learned from him, right now he is trying to, mount a mast to provide independent communication for himself so that he cannot be tracked, and so on and so on. He is the mastermind right now in captivity. 92 students of Bini Yaori in his captivity. Right now in his captivity there are 134 Islamia students from Tegina, and he is so dreaded that he doesn't negotiate. In fact, he doesn't even understand the language of a negotiation or something. He will not make himself available for talks and so on.
So it was one of these 12 commanders that you talked about who invited you over to come and visit.
Not to one. About 3 of them,
Right.
I met them personally, and the governor of that state, the 2 governors know that we met, and I went to the forest on their invitation, 2 of them, and I saw what they were doing.
But were you afraid going in there? I
No,
mean, because they might have felt that you would go back and reveal their positions.
They know I'm a journalist,
Right.
and for them to invite me to their den means they agree that I should narrate part of what they agree.
Right, but also protects your sources.
Yeah,
because as
yeah,
a journalist,
actually,
that's
I
what you're
don't
enjoying
mention
to
them.
do.
I don't mention where, but what I saw, and they live like kings there. They are not even afraid, and they boast, they brag that the government know where they live. That's why I told you, none of them is a stranger, because their parent recently, that's one they call Turji. Turji ran in Zamfara between, he is the ringleader leading between Sokoto, Sabon Birni, and Shinkafi forest. His father was arrested in Jigawa, and he got infuriated by that arrest and started arresting and killing people indiscriminately. So that means everybody knows everybody. The government, the people, the community, they all know them. Recall a senator from Damfara, Kabiru Marafa, one time stood up at the gallery of the house and told everybody that these bandits are known. He knows where they are. He even said the governor know where they are, and he was right.
So what's stopping the government from going in and flushing them out?
You see, the forest in northern Nigeria consists of 3 elements. There are people who live there, innocent people, even among the Fulanis. There are also people who enter the forest for livelihood. They go there to either farm, cut firewood or whatever. And then there are these bandits. So sometimes going there to fight means eliminating innocent people.
Okay, let me ask you to just hold your thoughts. We'll come straight back to you, but we've got to take a break. You're watching the Arise interview. Plenty more still ahead as we continue our chat with the current affairs analyst Shuaib Mungadi, one of the few journalists who's met some of the bandits who are terrorizing northern Nigeria. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Arise interview. I'm Charles Aniagolu. Now, every day, more people are killed and displaced in northern Nigeria as armed bandits become more daring and more brazen in their attacks. Thousands have been killed and property worth tens of millions of naira destroyed under the rampaging jackboot of these criminal gangs. Usually after each attack, the bandits leave with the spoils of their plunder, including cattle, food and women. Most attempts by state governments to reach out to the bandits, including offering them amnesty, appear to have failed so far. Those who initially agreed to give up their criminal trade later reneged and resumed their attacks. And the current affairs analyst Shuaib Mungadi, one of the few journalists who's met some of the bandits and accompanied them to their hideouts, is still with me in the studio. Thank you very much indeed for staying with us. And before we went on break, you were telling us that these bandits have carved out areas that they are governing, they have their territory, and you were saying that security people, you were telling us about security. I think you mentioned previously before we went on air that the police know them, but they can't stand up to them. And these bandits are used to living and sleeping in the forest, unlike the police who go after them.
Certainly, Mr. Charles. I don't think for now Nigerian government is ready to face these criminals. Not that they don't know where they are, but you see, there's one heartbreaking story always coming from the government, that they do not have enough personnel. With Nigeria's population, for anybody to come out and say there is no enough number of personnel to fight criminality in Nigeria, I think he must be a clown. Well, they cannot fight them for now. My reason being that I saw most of them, I mean some of them, where they live, how they live. I learned also their operations.
That's the bandits.
Yeah, and I know, you know, you can guess the number. From what I have gathered, these bandits are about 12,000. So you can see
just concentrated in northern Nigeria.
Concentrated in northern Nigeria, and this is minus Boko Haram. Only between these 5 states of northern Nigeria, minus Kano and Jigawa. I mean, northwest. I mean, within just northwest and part of north central. But they have 2 key edge over Nigerian security. One, the terrain that they master. 2, when they have informant, and unfortunately there was allegation of moles among Nigerian security who, you know, cooperate with these bandits. And the government also, unfortunately, did not any conspicuous move to fish those moles out.
Right. So basically, you're saying that there are bad eggs in the security forces that you think should be investigated.
They should be investigated. They should be flushed out. They should be sanctioned.
And they're to be investigated because you're saying that you're alleging that they collude with the bandits.
Yeah, there was this allegation from the bandits and from the communities. Then, you see, let me tell you how some of these bandits operate. They are now emboldened. They are now operating with impunity. They go to a community. When people start fleeing the community, they will tell them to stop. We are not here to kill you, that we are only visitors. And everybody will stay. Then they will stay in the community, spend days as they wish, sleeping with their women and daughters, eating their food. They kill their animal and eat, and they make their women cook for them, while men, you know, look on. And when they are going, they will ask all men in the village to gather all their animals, to put together all their foodstuff and everything they have, and leaving behind anguish and sorrows. If you hear them killing now, because it has become an enterprise, they don't want to kill. If you hear bandits killing, they are small children that are, you know, terrorizing the highways. Or if they go to the village and somebody try to resist them. Or if there is any move by any community to organize and fight them, then they will invite if there is another counter move by security agencies. So they will now, that is where they will invite their people from neighboring countries, Niger, Chad, or Mali, as the case may be, so that they will come in their large numbers. That is when they want to face Nigeria security. A situation where 10 or 20 soldiers are stationed and bandits come in their hundreds. When they come in 100 motorcycle, that means they are 300.
Right.
Because every motorcycle will carry 3 bandits.
That's a good
and
point.
all of them with weapons maybe more sophisticated than the Nigerians.
So in some ways you've explained why they appear to be so ruthless and have no qualms about killing people, because we hear them shooting students and that sort of thing. Anybody who challenges them, basically, they'll eliminate.
They shoot only when they are challenged.
Right. So we've got a minute or so, I'm assuming, before we have to go. A couple of minutes. What sort of peace initiative, based on what you know, this experience you've had and this extraordinary knowledge you have, what sort of peace initiative would you suggest that the authorities adopt to end this? Because, as you said, this banditry now seems worse than the insurgency itself.
You see, unfortunately, there is no unity in the fight against bandits in northern Nigeria. The federal government is doing one thing, state governments are individually doing another thing. The security are not carried along. There is no synergy between the federal, state, and even the security operatives. So unless they are united and come up with a common place, common the strategy, I don't think they will be able to fight these people, because they are more ready and sophisticated. They have been collecting huge sums of ransom, and they are using it to buy weapons. You have just heard recently when they brought an aircraft down. So before, somebody who was just using AK-47, and now he has anti-aircraft guns. You don't know what they will have in future, and no stopping them, because all these rhetorics by the government, the outbursts by Kaduna that they will not do this, they will not do this, unless you are prepared to fight, that is when you will say there is no negotiation.
You're talking about the Kaduna governor, El-Rufai, who said he will not pay ransom as a matter of policy.
Yeah, he will not pay ransom, and he cannot fight them. So the masses are on their own. Zamfara is ready to negotiate, but they are not ready to negotiate. Or if you negotiate Zamfara, you don't negotiate Katsina, you don't negotiate Kebbi or Sokoto or Niger, then you don't address the issue. So the problem is they have to be united. The federal government as an umpire, the chief security of the country, have to bring everybody together and have a common strategy.
Okay, I want to thank you very much indeed. Just absolutely brilliant talking with you. Shuaib Mungadi is a journalist, a current affairs analyst, and presenter of a popular Hausa program that people across northern Nigeria listen to and watch. Thank you very much indeed.